There are few swords in the world that are more intimidating or more effective than the two-handed Chinese war sword. Its huge, wide blade will shear through armor as if it were butter, not to mention mere flesh and bone. However, there's nothing clumsy or awkward about this sword. Its 14.5-inch cord-wrapped grip, S-shaped guard, and still ring-shaped pommel all work in concert to make it a well-balanced weapon.
Wait. Did he say work in concert? Is that right? Work in concert. Oh, I guess it is right. Well, you learn something every day. Cold Steel is one of the most popular sword manufacturers out there today, and they have a YouTube channel, in case you didn't know. It's called Cold Steel. Now, Cold Steel makes videos showing off their products, the products that they sell. And, well, I decided to make this video because I have been linked to Cold Steel videos too many times now. Both by friends that I train with and by viewers saying, "Oh, look at this, it is so amazing." Well, thing about that is though, Cold Steel videos are, they're there to sell a product, and that kind of shows if you think about it logically. So I thought it would be fun to just look at one of their videos, and I'm gonna tell you what I mean by this. So I just picked their most popular one. It's this one, the Chinese war sword. Now, I really wonder what kind of sword that is. It looks like a dao, some type of dao. There are various different kinds of dao. They never really specify what kind of dao it is supposed to resemble, because it's the Chinese war sword, according to them. Dao in Chinese means knife, actually. Jian means sword, and Dao means knife, so it's a similar thing to the German Langsmesser. But still, it's would be kind of important to know what the sword is modeled after. I would say I would like to know that, but I guess people don't care. It's a war sword, right? That's all you need to know. It's a war sword. Aren't most swords war swords if you think about it? Shut up, doesn't matter. War sword, that's all we need to know. Alright, let's continue the video.
Its huge, wide blade will shear through armor as if it were butter, not to mention mere flesh and bone.
It can cut through flesh and bone as if it were butter. I don't know what kind of butter you have, but I'm kind of worried.
Its 14.5-inch cord-wrapped grip, S-shaped guard, and still ring-shaped pommel all work in concert to make it a well-balanced weapon that's unbelievably fast and agile.
Alright, I want to say something else. The weapon isn't fast. Agile, maybe. But, a weapon can't really be fast, because if you put it on the ground, it's not gonna go anywhere. Right? How fast a weapon is depends on how fast you swing it. Pretty much. Now, a heavier weapon would technically be slower a little bit. So if it's light, then I guess it could be quicker, or more or less it would be easier to swing. But alright, never mind. This only makes sense if you believe that swords are heavy. So that kind of already shows the demographic that they're going for here, the masses.
I can't tell you how easy that was.
You can't? Oh, that's too bad. I would like to know, actually.
You have the right angle and a beautiful sword like this with that unbelievably great cross-section.
What kind of cross-section? A great one. But how wide is the blade? It's a great cross-section. Yeah, okay, but I would like to know specifically how wide the blade is so I can compare it to other swords that... It's a great cross-section. That's all you need to know. It's great, okay? Did you see it cut through that bamboo? It's some thick stuff.
Look how thick this stuff is. Some thick stuff.
Extra thick!
I like my bamboo extra thick.
I love it. The Chinese war sword by Cold Steel.
Alright, so wait a second. This is a tatami mat, and they put a little leather around it. Okay. Why? The second slice didn't even hit the leather.
That piece of rope's bigger than my upper arm. Hundreds and hundreds of strands of polyester twine, all braided together.
Oh, you thought you were watching a video about swords? Nah, man, this is a rope commercial. Look at that thick rope. Hey, were you not convinced the first 3 times we cut that rope? Here's a clip of us cutting a rope. Did you know the sword can cut through rope? I mean, here's a clip of us showing it. Again, this guy is a professional baseball player, it seems like. You know, cowboys were actually the Chinese worst enemy. So when you're out on the battlefield with your Chinese war sword, you gotta make sure that your sword can cut through cowboy boots. Because, you know, cowboys, they always kick their opponents to death. You know, the revolvers, this is just a myth. Cowboys, they Spartan kick everybody, right? So you gotta have a sword that can cut through a boot properly. It's really a necessity. Who came up with this? Why would you cut through? Why a boot? I get the tatami mats, I get the bamboo, I get the rope. Why a boot? And why did you put meat in the boot? What does that matter? Is it like even it's? Did you want to make like a realistic foot analog? Like when would you actively cut somebody's foot in half? Okay, never mind.
Its huge, wide blade will shear through armor as if it were butter, not to mention mere flesh and bone. Will shear through armor as if it were butter. As if it were butter. Not to mention mere flesh and bone.
Alright. I want to say something here. Lots of people have in the past linked me to these kind of videos saying that, or not even cold steel videos, but videos like this. Alright? That somebody has a sword and it cuts through all kinds of stuff and then everybody goes like, oh, it's amazing. Ooh. Meanwhile, they have absolutely nothing to compare it to. I actually had somebody once tell me or ask me to prove that a long sword could also cut through a tatami mat. Not just because it was on a katana video saying katanas are amazingly sharp, they can cut through tatami mat, and I said long swords can do that too, and he was like, prove it. I mean, what? You know how many cutting videos there are on YouTube? Have you never seen one of a long sword cutting through a tatami mat? Like, honestly, if you've never seen even an attempt of another sword cutting through a tatami mat, then why would you assume that it's amazing that a katana can do it? Right? And like this one, this sword can cut through entire pigs, and people go like, ooh, that's amazing. Well, have you ever even seen an attempt of somebody else doing it with another sword? No, you haven't. So what makes you think this is amazing? You have nothing to compare it to. You just assume that it's amazing because they tell you it's amazing, and of course they're gonna say it's amazing because they're selling the product. Right? This is the exact reason why I'm not impressed by cold steel. Because cold steel has been compared to other products, similar products of different manufacturers many times, and they're not specifically better. Cold steel swords tend to be heavier, not balanced properly. occasionally their blades are thicker, less sharp, right? Their guards tend to start rattling quite soon. So all of those things make me not impressed by cold steel because I compare it to other stuff. I don't just look at one thing and I say, oh, that's amazing. You know what that's like? It's like if you've never ever seen a dog before in your life. Very unlikely, but let's say that you've never seen a dog before, right? And you see the first dog ever and it says woof. And you go like, oh, that's amazing. It makes sound and it says woof. That's incredible. And then somebody else goes like, yeah, but all dogs say woof though. And you say, prove it. What? No, I don't have to prove a damn thing. You're twisting it around. You're seeing one dog say woof, and that's the only dog that you've ever seen say woof, and you assume that it's amazing. But you've never seen a dog before. That's kind of the same thing here. Right? Have you ever seen other swords cut through ropes like that? No, you haven't. Or maybe you have, but I'm just gonna assume that you haven't. Then why would you assume that it's amazing that this sword can do it? Right? If you want to impress me, if you want to convince me that what your product is doing is amazing, then show me that other products cannot do the same thing. And that's what they failed to do. They just showed their own sword cut through a bunch of shit over and over and over and over and over again. And by the end of the video, it's about 5 minutes long, I'm like, yeah, okay. What did I learn about this sword? Nothing. I don't even know how heavy it is. They don't even tell me how long it is. They tell me nothing about this sword. They only tell me that it has a great cross-section and that it can cut through thick stuff. Okay. Thanks. Pretty much any half-decent sword can do that. As long as it has an edge and doesn't immediately fall apart, it can pretty much do that. So, I learned nothing. I'm not impressed. And you shouldn't be either. Just saying. You know, it would be great to know what kind of wood that actually is. You know, and specifically how thick that wood is. And how difficult it actually would be to cut through that wood. Perhaps you would first try it with like a modern axe. And then show the effect that the sword has after that. So that we can compare the two. Or don't. We could also just assume that it's difficult. Yeah, let's just do that. Let's just assume that it's difficult. Oh, the sword is so amazing. Look, it cut through the board. Oh my god.
Its huge, wide blade will shear through armor as if it were butter, not to mention mere flesh and bone.
I can just imagine this guy making a sandwich and having like a pack of butter right there and going with his knife going like wang, 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 wang. Apparently butter is incredibly hard to these people. I don't know why, but that's what it seems like and that's what they said. So, long ago, the four nations lived together in harmony. But everything changed when the basketballs attacked. Wah! Come on, man. Why would you... Why? Why? Who thinks this is a good idea? Who is even impressed by this? It's a fucking basketball. Anything can cut through a fucking basketball. Are people actually impressed by this? Guys. We need to make an awesome cutting stuff video that people need to be impressed by so that they buy our fucking sword. What do we cut? We could cut through a basketball. Well, that's not very impressive.
Well, you're not very impressive.
Okay, yeah, you know what? You're right. Let's cut a basketball. That makes sense. In case you weren't impressed by the first bamboo that we cut, here's more bamboo. It's not as thick as the other one, but amazing! It cut through it. Oh my god, I would not have guessed it could do that.
That's what a Chinese war sword is all about.
It's about cutting bamboo and boots and basketballs. I don't get it. But I'll take your word for it. Oh, come on. What is this? What is this? That's a bag of meat. That's not a piece of meat, that's a bag. And they put a denim jacket over it. Ah, those damn hooligans in their denim jackets. Better grab my sword to get them off my lawn. Ah, what? I mean, it didn't even really cut through the jacket. It just kind of ripped. And it's a bag of meat. It's pieces of meat in a bag. So basically, you're just cutting the bag. Come on. Oh, reverse grip. Yeah, hell yeah, badass. Slice the thing. I'm not convinced yet that this sword can slice tatami mats. Could you please show a clip of you slicing tatami mats? Because I haven't seen that yet. Cardboard now. Okay, yeah, that's way stronger than the rope. So I'm super impressed right now. How heavy is the sword again? Or how long is it? Can you tell me? Okay, you know what? Here's the thing. Usually, when you buy a sword, you'd want to know something about the sword, right? Something along the lines of, you know, what I just said, the basic things. But there are more important things like what kind of steel is being used and what kind of tang it has. It could be important. Lots of things can be important actually when you're judging the quality of a sword. And what cold steel does is nothing. Apparently, because we haven't learned a damn thing. This entire video is just them cutting stuff with the sword. Great, but they're not really impressive cutting things like basketballs, pieces of meat, like anything that's sharp can cut through a piece of meat. Like what do you cut your meat with when you're cooking? An axe? No, you cut it with a knife. Come on, you know, it's all of that is not that impressive. And then when it actually meets something hard, like bone, it fails. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't cut through. So, why are people impressed by this stuff? I guess it works because they sell plenty of stuff, but whatever. And I gotta say, you know, because cold steel is comparatively cheap, right? So, there are some products from cold steel that I'm interested in getting, like their Kriegsmesser and their great sword. They seem interesting to me for their price, what you get for it. But then, okay, you know what? Never mind. I don't even know. The thing about it is, I have nothing to explain because they don't say anything. It's just a video of them cutting stuff, and then they're like, "Ooh, buy our sword, it's amazing." And 15 million people freaking watched it. Let's take a look at the comments. That's sharp. Well, yeah, it is sharp. What steel is this made of? I would never buy a functional blade made out of unspecified mystery metal. Something only clueless amateurs do. Detail, please. That's a good point. Probably made in China. Okay. They are so cool. Sure. My dick is sharper when it's hard. Interesting. No animals were harmed during this video. No, they were already all dead, in case you didn't notice. Coolest fit on YouTube. Definitely. Alright, that's enough of that. Alright, so they cut a bunch of cans, then they cut a bunch of soda bottles, then they cut a bunch of pigs. Are you gonna eat that? Because I would. I mean, that's a waste, man. Come on. How to hold a sword 101. Oh. It just ends. It just ends there. There's no outro. Okay. Well, I don't know what to think now. I don't know what to say. I think I've said everything that there is to say. Please stop linking me to cold steel videos. They're not impressive. I'm not impressed by them. And, yeah. If you stuck around this long, you might as well subscribe. Also follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. Thank you for joining my concert, and I hope you'll join me in the next one. Bye.